Hello, fellow comic book worms. This is Name. Welcome to my channel. Today, I don't have my co-host Otaku tour guide, Otaku Hyung. I call him. He's not here today, but we still have our guest, the Dank Show. Dank from Dank Show. Is that what you go by,
Yeah.
Dank?
Yeah. So my full name is Daniel Kim. So Dan K.
Ah,
Dank.
Dank.
Yeah. Because if I'm a filmmaker, and I'm on IMDb, I can be Daniel Kim the 13th or the one Dank. And I'm not gonna be the 13th Daniel Kim. There's so many Daniel Kims, so I'm not trying to be the one. Like, what up, Dave?
Hey, Dave. Hi, Whippy Talk is here. How are you, Whippy?
What's up?
All right. So, hey, when Otaku brought up Asian Pacific Island American Regiment,
Hmm.
I mean, I sort of knew about them, but I never really celebrated that. And he said, let's celebrate that and bring, Asian creators, Asian artists, Asian collectors, and Pacific Islanders too, by the way. That's very
Yeah.
important to him. So I say,
Hmm.
yeah, I say, let's do it. What about you? Did you know about
Yeah,
the
so I always forget when it is. I definitely same thing. And other people let me know and remind me. I think part of that though is part of the reason why Asians are so unaware of Asian Month. I think is because we have culturally, many of us, generally speaking, have been culturally raised to like keep our heads down, not cause trouble, don't
yeah,
make a scene. So we're always like low key, and that's maybe hurting us now. I think. I think we need to actually speak up more, present ourselves more, and show how charismatic and interesting and complex we are. Because and that's happening. It's slowly happening. So
well, I thought that I mean, if I'm doing the Asian and Pacific Islander American Heritage Month,
mm,
and I'm celebrating that, I gotta have the thank you. I mean, because you do bring up a lot about Asian American, uh, controversies and whatnot, and so I thought, hey, we gotta have him here. So that's why I thought. But you have a lot of interesting thing you discuss on your channel, and I want to present that as well.
okay,
So,
yeah,
uh, hey Jeff, what's up?
we got a big test, huh?
Uh-oh, are you in school, Weeby? Okay, so how do you celebrate the month if when you do remember it? Oh, what are you
I
drinking, by the way? Let's come back.
having a Maker's Marks with a little ice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a Yingling you got.
Yingling, yeah, come back. Uh,
Oh,
I
come
believe
back,
you're
yeah.
Korean, so come back. You understand come back. Gombe is a cheers in Korean, guys.
Yeah. I don't really celebrate it at all. I do write projects about other people's, other cultures actually, like and totally different people, not my own, right? So I do write projects with Asians, of course. I have been more recently, but most of my life I haven't.
Yeah, that
So
your short
yeah,
film, for instance, is all well. You had a
yeah, they all happen to have Asian people, so that helps me, post up the films for Asian Month just for fun. But my first comic book series, this is from 2008, and it's called Dania, and it's
mhm.
about like a 26-year-old black woman from Washington Heights, and she's supposed to be the next prophet of God. It's part of a prophecy, and she's helped by this woman Stella Richards, who's a black woman that works at a crayon company, and that for some reason, it's really complicated. And there's a Latino guy named Jason Rivera who's you know does all this stuff. But anyway, I've been writing different kinds of people in as protagonists in my projects
Wait,
a
is that your
long
comic book?
time. This is my comic book, Daniel Kim, right there.
Let me see it. Not got it. Okay.
Yeah, this is my comic I did 2008, right? But actually, I wrote it in 2006.
Hey, Freedom.
So, and it's It's awesome. It's action packed.
Who's the artist?
Juan Romero from Argentina. He's excellent. He's done stuff for a bunch of major publishers too. And I was in my 20s when I did this. But at the time, when I would use, like, if I had a black female protagonist, people didn't understand why. They were like, but why is she black? You know, and I was like, why not? Why not? You know, like, so that's been sort of my thing. I've been trying to push media about totally different kinds of people because then I'm more interested, and I have to be really honest with myself if I write these characters, brutally honest with myself. And I think so, like, it's important for all of us to tell our own stories. That's very important. I get that, you know, but a lot of times I feel like the people that care the most about your story is your own people. And I think the next step, though, ultimately, is when we start telling each other's stories authentically. Then we're sort of telling the world we are all the same, like, as minorities. Like, even though we're different too, we have to realize, like, we're also together. And, like,
Yeah,
because as long as we stay fragmented, you know, the power structure will remain in place. As long as, like, you know, different groups of people hate each other, we're never gonna get ahead. And the key is, like, realizing we're actually more similar than we think.
yeah. I don't think we're at that level yet. We are. I don't think we are telling. We're not even telling our own stories yet. We, you know.
Well, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited about American Born Chinese, the Disney Plus series coming out.
Uh-huh.
And it's gonna have the Monkey King. It's
Monkey
gonna be
King.
about an Asian kid going to a new school, feeling alone, being the only Asian kid in school, and then he meets another foreign kid that comes in, and he doesn't like him, another Asian kid, but he, like, resents him because it only shows, like, he doesn't want to be connected to the Asian guy, even though he's Asian. But it turns out it's also related to the Monkey King story. Michelle Yeoh's in it. It's gonna be a multi-million-dollar project on Disney Plus with Dustin Cretton, or whatever, the guy that did Shang-Chi.
Mm.
So if Disney Plus is investing this much money in a property that America doesn't know about, I'm guessing the script is so good. That's why it's, like, coming. And it's written by a guy from Westworld and another guy from Bob's Burgers. They're brothers, they're writers, and they're working together to showrun this show. It's going to be a huge phenomenon, and I think America's going to know what the Monkey King is and the Buddha Guanyin. They're going to learn who the Buddha of compassion. Like, all of America will know who Guanyin is and the Monkey King. And this is something that I've been pushing for and waiting for a while, but Disney's going to bring it first.
Yeah.
And do you know about Quantum Leap? You know the show Quantum Leap?
Yeah. I know the quantum. I'm a fan of the quantum leap. Was
Okay.
long
Okay,
ago.
so they're rebooting it right now. It's
Uh-huh.
already approved. The lead character is a Korean guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be an Asian Korean guy playing the guy in Quantum Leap, looking for the original guy that went. So they're trying to investigate and find the original guy,
Uh-huh.
and the lead's gonna be a Korean guy. And they shot a pilot, and they love the pilot, so it's ordered to series. So now we're gonna have the next Quantum Leap with the Asian lead, and this is also fantastic because it's not like Crazy Rich Asians, Shang-Chi, which are so Asian, you know? Whereas Quantum Leap, this is just a show about a physicist, a theoretical physicist, and the character happens to be Asian. So I kind of like that when stories, like, it's just, this is the story, and the character happens to be this. There it is, you know?
Right. Right. Right.
And I've never seen that on this scale. Yeah.
I was.
I can't remember the last time saw something like this where it was such a big project with a lead that was Asian and it wasn't about Asianness.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to see like some kind of a romance story involving Asian guy? It doesn't even mention that he's Asian. Right? Just,
Well, yeah, there's you know, Walking Dead, Walking Dead, right? How the character Glenn was his name, right? The Asian guy
the
in
Korean, he
Walking
was
Dead.
Korean guy, right?
Korean guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So when he had sex on TV on AMC, Dave, you know the artist David Cho?
Yeah.
He's the painter David Cho. So he met the actor, I forgot his name, but he told him, like, thank you for having sex on television because now you're like the first Asian guy to ever have sex on television. So now we can have sex. You know, he's so happy because Glenn did it on Walking Dead.
I mean, we're such a huge, we're such a race that propagates so much, and yet we're not known for sex.
Yeah, but you know, I want to change that. I'm gonna slowly change. I'm gonna work on projects to change that because I believe like media and art is the way to kind of transform society more so than politics or you know I think right now when truth is so fragmented and no one knows what the truth is, it's time for the artist to step up and speak a new truth because art and fiction is a lie. It's not real. It's a lie that you will willingly believe in with all of your heart, right? You'll suspend your disbelief and believe in these stories, and these stories can tell you the experience of others because ultimately we need people to have the empathy to understand each other so they stop hating each other on all sides, you know. So I think storytelling is the vehicle. It's like an empathy vehicle. It's an empathy machine, and that's how we're gonna really affect change. I believe. I think art is, yeah, the most powerful change agent there is.
Lost me for a little bit there. You got disconnected
Oh, I got disconnected.
for a little bit.
Sorry. Oh, I was talking about art. And how art is the greatest force of change in culture right now, especially when truth is lost, when truth is so fragmented.
Then I've never seen Jackie Chan kiss. Have you seen Jackie Chan kiss?
No, but I have seen Jackie Chan play a bad guy. Have you seen Jackie Chan play a bad guy?
Mm, no, just drunk.
No, no. In there's a movie called The Shinjuku Incident, and it was like a Japanese Chinese co-production, and he plays a Chinese guy in the Chinese ghettos of Japan who starts a mob. He becomes a mob boss and he runs like, but there's no kung fu fighting at all. And Jackie Chan's like really terrible at fighting, and everyone's got knives and shit, and all his friends are getting murdered, and he dies at the end. And it's like, but he plays a
Wow.
criminal. Yeah, and it's actually one of his best performances. That movie and The Foreigner, I
Yeah, I got
think,
you.
very good performances.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, and Jet Li, Romeo Must Die. Like he never got with Aaliyah, right?
Yeah.
That was pathetic, you know. And I was like, when Romeo Must Die trailer came out when I was a kid in the '90s, I was like, was it the '90s? I think it was the '90s. I thought, yeah, finally, like Asian guy gets to be a romantic lead or whatever. But it's not really what it was.
What's that? The White Castle movie? The
Oh, Harold and Kumar go to White
yeah,
Castle.
didn't he? He didn't. He never had sex either.
He does. He has a wife, I think, or later. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle was also very helpful, I think, to the Asian community.
You think so?
Yeah, because
Oh, I don't know.
no, it gave us all the freedom to, you know, not just be nerds. You know, it gave us the freedom to be potheads. You know, anything that takes us outside the box, like I'm all
Yeah.
for it. But I was a pothead at the time, so I was like, finally, they made a movie about me. You know.
Uh,
What up, Kenneth? Hey,
okay.
Freedom Surfer. Um. Oh yeah, yeah. There's a whole thing where Asian men are sort of demasculinized and desexualized since the beginning of, you know, it's always been that way. And it's not everywhere in the world, but it's definitely in America. And it was kind of rough for, you know, I guess anyone born before 2000. It's been rough. I mean, even still, like, but
I mean,
you know,
what was that
yeah.
movie called? Nerds? No, was it Nerds?
Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds. There was an Asian guy in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he got a big boob girlfriend, but it was always in a
We were clowns. We were always clowns. Like,
yeah. Well, we are clowns, and you
yeah,
know,
we're usually clowns. I've walked into rooms where I've sometimes, once in a while, I'll walk into a room where people just laugh at me just because I'm Asian. That's happened to me. It's actually happened to me. And I'm like, oh man, you guys are just literally laughing at me because I'm Asian. That's fucking crazy. But I'll lean into that. If I'm in any situation where people are sort of doing that, I'll sort of be more charismatic than everyone and kind of push further than people expect and kind of break people's expectations or know about other people so deeply that they're sort of surprised. Um, and I'll do that
not running
intentionally
on
because
purpose.
I know I represent. I'm represent like if I get bullied in New York for being Asian, I will overreact, right? And part of that is it's not just for me. Like I know if I overreact and make this situation somewhat traumatic for that person, they will think twice before they ever do it again to another Asian person. Like
So
so
you're
I
doing it
kind
for
of
us. Huh?
I sort of do. I mean, when I was younger, I used to wish I was born in Korea, right? I used to wish I grew up in Korea because, I visited Korea for the first time when I was 12, and it was just like 2 months. But I was treated so differently. Like, everyone was treating me so much better, and like, women would be shy around me, and like, fucking everyone was telling me like all this good stuff. And I was like, what the fuck? Because in America, I wasn't getting any of that shit, right? So I was like, man, what the fuck? And I just thought, man, I really missed out on something, right? But then as I got older, I realized, like, well, actually, if I'm so used to being overlooked and underestimated that it forced me to be like more interesting and more compelling. And then I started to appreciate being born here because I was overlooked and underestimated. I think it made me stronger and more cunning than I ever would have been. And it made me more empathetic to other minorities and women and other different people that are also marginalized. But if I was born in Korea, I'd have been hot shit. And I'd have been just like a popular loser. Like maybe I wouldn't be that smart. Maybe I would have, it'd have been too
You just
easy.
relied on your good looks, huh?
Or no, whatever. I mean, I just remember it was so easy there. And everyone was just throwing opportunities at me, and I might have been soft, Like I think being born here made me
I could have been,
as
yeah,
grittier
I
and
could have been quite a bit different. One of the things I do is the one of the superpower that I do dream about. I mean, not dream about, but imagine about is that I could all of a sudden just with some use some strange radiated shampoo, I become a white person, speak fluently.
yeah, no, I used to think about that kind of stuff too, and
Like
but
I could go into a crowd of people and they would treat me like just another white person, and it would be a whole different world for me. Just I could imagine different kind of whole world for me. That is, and I don't feel even even the feeling that I have inside me is different.
yo, I didn't like being Asian so much when I was a kid that I would like get slime from little quarter little slot machine things, that you put the quarter in. I would get the slime hoping it was ooze so I can be a Ninja Turtle instead. I was like, as a child, I was secretly hoping I could become a Ninja Turtle instead of being Asian. Like that for real. Like that's how I thought that would have been a better life then. Cause I moved so much, and every time I moved, people made fun of me for being Asian, and it was like I just wanted to be a turtle instead. It's so sad, but yeah, that's true. But now I
Hey, Monkey King Turtle. What's the difference? I mean,
no, and now I'll go to Chinatown. I'll visit Chinatown and just roam around because they don't know I'm not Chinese. So it's like, and it's this unique feeling where you don't feel like a minority, and I'm so not used to it. So it's always surreal. Every time I go to Chinatown, it's surreal because I'm just like one of everyone, and I'm so not used to it because I never grew up with a big Asian community, so I never get like I never cease to be amused by that, like roaming Chinatown for no reason, getting into all the nooks and crannies, and or like a grandma, she just like yells and pushes me, and I'm like, oh, she thinks I'm Chinese. That's so funny, like
yeah. If I go to Korea, I'm very short. I mean,
Oh, I had no idea. I thought you were really tall, actually. I
thank you.
know. I'm serious. I'm serious. Because of YouTube, I guess.
Yeah, of course. I'm very short. I'm about 5'6", right?
Okay.
And I lived in Oklahoma for so long. And one time I went back to Korea, and I'm going, why are people so short here? I'm just used to seeing people who are taller than me. I'm not used to seeing people who are, I'm an average size there, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm,
like,
mm-hmm.
wow. And that feels it's sort of a little comforting there, kind of stuff. But being, you know, being with people that are similar to you, you know.
You know, I'm 5'9", and I realize like I see tall people and they don't look tall to me actually. Like
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
a roommate that was like 7 foot tall or something, and he happened to be black. And like a lot of people would talk about how does he play basketball or shit like that, and they would remark on how tall he is, but like he doesn't play basketball. He's just like a really smart kid. That happened to be really tall, and I could see like it kind of bugged him. I could tell it like he didn't like it, but he never said anything about it. But I can tell, and I was like,
Well,
he's just a
I went
guy,
through the
man.
same. I went through the same thing. I mean, oh, he's Asian guy, so he must be a black belt in whatever, and he must be kung
You
fu
know, but
master.
but they don't really think that. They think they could pick on us. I mean, that there is sort of a stereotype about that, but if you want to play that stereotype, you got to lean in. You got to really pretend like you know martial arts like crazy for that to
Oh
work.
yeah, that's why I took my. That's why I went to school to get my black belt.
I mean, yeah,
I
I
had to meet up
actually
their expectation.
I studied fighting because I hated violence, and I grew up in like a poor neighborhood. And when I was like 7, all the kids were like forcing each other to fight each other, and I didn't in the neighborhood. And that's like in like sociology, that's sort of a thing. Neighborhood kids do that to help toughen each other up, to protect the neighborhood from the other kids from the other neighborhood. It's like to kind of help you. But as a child, I just didn't like violence, and they kept trying to force me to fight my friends, and I didn't want to, and I was crying, and they would like slap me around, push me around. And then the next day and I just refused to fight. And then the next day they brought another kid to fight me, and like my friend's cousin came to, and then this kid Carlos. And then I was so upset that they didn't stop tormenting me about violence, that I just like punched him really hard, and he couldn't breathe. He was on the ground and he just couldn't move, and it was over. And then no one like tried to make me fight again, but it was horrible. I hated it. And then I learned violence so I wouldn't be afraid of violence. And then when you learn violence, it's so painful learning violence that you actually stop fearing the pain of violence. So you're like, oh, instead of, oh, they're gonna hurt my arm, you're like, I'm gonna block with my weapon arm, my weapon here. I'm gonna grab you with my weapon and hit you with my weapon and block with my weapon. You see your body differently, so you're not really afraid of getting in fights as much. And then you don't get into fights really when you show no fear, because it's better to pick on scared people, easy targets. But when you look like you know how to fight, or you're ready to fight, or you're not scared at all, it tends to like stop everything.
I use
And
that stereotype well. I mean, nobody picked a fight with me. I use that stereotype well.
no, but
What?
I got picked on because people knew I studied martial arts. I
Oh,
had this like, yeah, drug dealer. He like started picking a fight with me, and I was like, no, I don't. And I told him like, I don't actually fight though. I just study. I don't fight. And then he put me in a headlock, like a reverse headlock. And then when I was in the headlock, I was like,
hey, Slim.
I trained in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu too, right? So I was in the headlock, and I was like, oh my god, I know what to do. In my head, I was like, oh, I know what to do. I know how to deal with this. So I pulled his arm down. I kicked my leg behind him. I reversed the whole thing. I put him on the ground, and I started like blocking his breathing. And then his body went limp because he was scared. He was terrified. But at first he was laughing. Anyway, I didn't punch it. I just like got up and I was shaking, and I yelled at him for like 10 minutes, and he just took it, because in most fights people don't show mercy, but I always show mercy. Like as soon as I know I won, I'm not going to keep going to punish you, like, cuz violence is not natural to me, right? And then we became roommates. We became friends. He gave me a free eighth, and we became roommates. Like showing mercy. People don't show enough mercy and compassion, but it really pays off, I think.
I mean, the Sun. I don't know if you study Sun Tzu.
Sun
You
Tzu, yeah. Hmm.
always give your enemy a way out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know that principle.
Okay.
Hey, Slim.
Slim, what's up? another
Slim
another
was
word
like
representing Asian Americans.
one of my first supporters. Um, really grateful to him. He's such a great supporter of the community.
He's a huge community supporter. This dude.
He's a dialysis doctor, actually. My grandfather's doing dialysis now too. He's outlived the predictions already. He was supposed to be like, so he just keeps living, and but dialysis is keeping him alive.
So, how does your collection, I mean, your particular race affect your collection and your art and your writing? I call this, by the way, meet the writer because I saw some of your videos. Awesome, awesome film you made just recently. I'd like
Hmm.
to be able to show that off, but um,
Yeah, it's on my channel. I'm gonna showcase three other films. So I made four shorts with my partner. And the first one's called The Reading. It's a horror short with a twist. I think it's worth watching. It's short. It's on my channel. It's fun. Don't watch it with kids, baby. Um, yeah, and there's interesting trivia about that. But and then the next one will be Millie. It's a coming of age drama about a young woman in Brooklyn that realizes all her friends in her 20s are trash. You know that period in your 20s when you realize your friends suck. I don't know if you can relate. A lot of people can relate to that. And then Sunny, which is a relationship drama about like the last fight before a couple breaks off. And then Tongues, which is a horror short about praying in tongues. And
okay, I'm not watching that one.
it's not too scary. It's not too scary. It's more like a character drama, but we are very proud of that one too.
Yeah, I mean, I almost not watched the reading because
Yeah.
because it was getting get out of the apartment, get out of there.
Yeah, it's vague, but I think the performances is what sells it, And I direct actors too.
Okay, I'm gonna provide that link below. You guys, maybe it's
I
awesome
think
short film.
there's like a secret to acting, in my opinion, is
What is
generally
it?
speaking, we human beings we do not speak directly about things most of the time. We almost always speak with subtext. There's some sort of hidden meaning behind the words we're speaking, right? That's like real life. So in films, if the actors say the lines just like it says on the script, it doesn't feel real sometimes. So the trick is you give it this other meaning that's not in the script that no one in the audience knows ever, right? So and you give each of the I gave each actor these huge backstories about who they are, what they're doing, what they're going next, all this stuff that's not in the movie at all, and it helped them build up this whole imaginary, scenario, and then I made them think about all these different kind of things in their performance, but they have no idea. Like the actors didn't know what the other actor was thinking either. Like I kept each of their stories separated from each other, so they're just like bouncing off of each other and like confusing each other and getting because that's how real life is. We're not really saying things directly. We're actually it's all subtext. That's the thing. People don't talk directly. I find it's rare.
So this filmmaking, I mean, did it start from comic book or comic book made you into the filmmaker, or did the filmmaker made you into comic book collector or comic book creator? Which one started first?
I think church.
Church?
Yeah, so I would go to church and I don't speak Korean at all,
Uh,
and the sermon would always be in Korean. So
mm.
I was so bored. I was so bored that
Oh,
I would I would take a pamphlet and then a little pencil and I would write comic book stories.
uh,
And I loved comics and X-Men, the cartoons that got me into stories. So I started writing all these stories and then I would write the Christmas plays for church. And I would go to Bible camp and write the plays every time.
oh, yeah, you went to those
Bible camps. Yeah, I went
Bible
to
camps.
Bible camp.
Yeah, then
And
you would have all kind of skits. Are you one of the choose. I mean, students would pick you to write a story and stuff
I
because
was usually the guy. I
yeah,
was the
you're
one
that
writing.
guy,
And
huh?
then the story I won, I remember I won one year. It was because I made a Jesus story, but Jesus was Superman, Lex Luthor was the devil. Like it was actually Superman and Lex Luthor fighting, and it was all about like the meaning behind Jesus and like what it is, and like people were just blown away. And I remember when I was a kid, I was just like writing this shit, and I don't know how I even came up with it. Oh, and then also the adults would hold Bible study, and I just didn't care. So all the kids, we would go into a dark room. I'll turn off all the lights, and I would improvise ghost stories. I would just improvise these ghost stories till everyone got really creeped out, and then I would scream, and everyone would scream and run out, and it was just so much fun. So, and then we played like role playing games in the playground where we played characters, and that sort of got me into storytelling. And then I wrote the comic book came first. And comic books scripts are actually much more difficult to write than movie scripts.
Really?
Movie scripts, yeah. Movie scripts are really pared down. They're just like action dialogue, barely any description, like very little description. But in comic books, you have to write description, what's in the foreground, what's in the background, every object in the composition. You have to talk about the composition. It's like you're the director, NDP, and the writer. But in scripts, movie scripts, if you start writing too many details, it annoys the director, it annoys the DP, because they're like, that's my job, you let me do that, you just give me the skeleton. But in comics, you can't really do that. So it's more complex. And at first I loved comics because I can do anything I wanted, right? But then I went into writing scripts for TV and film and stuff. I realized like, oh, it's way more limited, right? I have to limit myself, because in comics I can have a story about two dinosaurs leaning on skyscrapers, drinking cappuccinos, talking about a divorce. I can write a comic book about that, but you'll never make a live action movie about that because it's
Right.
ridiculous, like ridiculously expensive. So, and at first that limitation was daunting, the limitations of film. But then I realized like the limitations had forced me to be more creative. And it was like, oh shit, I just became even more creative. And then I went back to comics again. I would go back and forth from comics to movies, TV to movies.
Can I show about first minute of this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's react to your first minute of this thing. Let me see. Let me see if I could present it. Add to the stream. I'm gonna make that a bigger one. There you go. This is he called it horror comedy. What's the title? Oh, the reading. The reading. Yeah, the reading. I remember that.
Hi. Hey. Hey. Hi. Come on. Thanks.
Are you Billy Lee?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Can I get you any water or tea or anything?
Water would be great. Thank you.
Water.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, what are we hoping to get out of the reading today?
I have this recurring problem,
Mm-hmm.
and every time I talk to my friends about it, they say that I'm awful, and that I just can't fix it, and it's becoming this whole thing.
I'm gonna stop it right there.
Oh, okay. Well, would you say it's like
Where you get these actresses?
So
I think that was,
yeah, they're awesome. Jessie, she's that's Jessie.
that's
She's-
it.
Yeah, Jessie. She's an old friend of mine, and I always thought she was a natural actor.
She looks very familiar. I don't know why.
No, she doesn't. She's no one. Yeah, I mean, I think this is her first film. I believe it's her first film, but she's a natural, and she's not pursuing it right now. But I think she's a natural, so she'd be great. She's great on camera. And then my other friend Molly, that's Molly. She's also an actor, and she has a new series out right now called Zodiac Dreams. It's a YouTube web series. It's brand
Oh,
new too, Zodiac Dreams. So you can watch that, and she directed and stars in that. And she's an actor I've known as well for like, I don't know, a long time. I don't know, but she was a friend. First, they were just friends of mine. And in fact, there's gonna be these other movies coming up. And this actor Millie that's in them, she's also a friend of mine that I just was like, I think you should act, and I'm not hitting on you.
okay.
Like seriously, like I don't do
I'm
that. I don't
married.
do that. Yeah, I'm married, but no. Like it's for people that I really think they can bring something to the camera, or they have a face that I've never seen before. So in fact, I have a friend. I got a buddy named Dwayne, and I wanted to film him too really soon, because he has a face
Right.
I feel like no one's seen before in Hollywood. And then Black Panther, like Chadwick Boseman came out, like with his shit. And my friend has a somewhat resemblance to Chadwick Boseman. I was like, fuck, they beat me, because I was like, because I know when there's like a compelling new face that should be on camera. And if I feel like they have the ability to act, I want to see that. And yeah, and bring out that performance. I don't know.
Come on, show me some more of your comic books. The one you did. You brought some
Well,
more?
yeah. Different comics. So this is a comic I'm showing. It's Clerks.
Oh,
The
okay. I know this one.
but it's signed by Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And it says, Dan, porn. He points out that this is a porn magazine, in case I didn't notice. Kevin Smith. And I got this signed in '98. And Kevin Smith, he made Chasing Amy. You know that movie, Chasing Amy? Have you
Yeah.
seen that movie?
No.
So
If I did, I can't remember.
So Chasing Amy is actually about comic book creators. Actually, the main characters are comic book creators,
Yeah.
and the art is done by the guy that made Mad Men. He does the art for their work. But when I was a kid, I didn't want to grow up. I didn't want to be an adult because I thought being an adult meant going to an office wearing a tie, and I was like, "F that! I don't want to grow up." And then I saw Chasing Amy, this movie about comic book creators, and it was like they're adults, and I was like, "Wait, I can be an adult like that? Like that's adulthood?" And then I was like, all right, I want to grow up. And that was the first time I wanted to grow up, when I saw Chasing Amy. And then I watched all of Kevin Smith's films. I was obsessed with Kevin Smith. And he started writing comic books in like 98, 97, 98. And I bought them, And then he made an appearance in New York Comic Con. It's before Kevin Smith became the podcaster and super famous as he is now. He was way less famous then. And I remember going to this little church. It was a very small, like really run-down convention. Kevin Smith was there, and I go up, and he's got red sneakers on. He's like swinging his feet, and he's sitting next to Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti, because they're really there for the Daredevil release. Because it's another comic I wanted to show. Daredevil issue 1 from 98, or 99, 98. The Marvel Knights, really, which completely changed comics, in my opinion. I think this was a landmark comic book, and it really changed the industry, because then it became more writer focused again. I think after Kevin Smith came in, it really showed what he can do. And Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada were working on this too. It's signed by all three of them. But I remember being so excited about this comic and like telling people about, oh man, Daredevil is so cool. And I remember describing it to this friend of mine who wasn't into comics, and she thought it was so cool. But yeah. And he was so gracious. I was so nervous when I met Kevin Smith, but he was so gracious and friendly, and he just like let me stay there, and he asked me questions, and my friend had to kind of talk for me because I was starstruck, but because I'm not starstruck. People don't. And I plan to meet Kevin Smith again, be a successful film, TV writer, meet Kevin Smith again, and thank him.
Not a fan, but as a coworker. I mean, like
colleague, but a major
colleague.
influence. Like I think watching Clerks made me realize I could make films. Because he felt the same way about the movie Slacker and Richard Linklater's film Slacker. It showed Kevin Smith he can make films, and I watched Kevin Smith and realized I could make films. He's such an influence on me. And then he wrote comics, and then in Chasing Amy, the comic book creator, he ends up sleeping with the lesbian and ruining that friendship, right? And then later, I made a comic book series. I ended up sleeping with a lesbian and ruining that friendship. And I realized like I'm replaying this everything Kevin Smith's like I don't know, like started remaking my reality to
Not
fit
knowing all
chasing
that
Amy.
before.
It was just like a weird coincidence.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I'll never make that mistake again. It wasn't my idea. That was her. It was her idea. So, cause she taught like we were good friends. Me and this friend, we were really good friends, and we were hanging out all the time. And then she's breaking up with her girlfriend, and she goes, we're at a bar, and she's like, Dan, I think I'm attracted to you. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, and I told her I wish you didn't say that, cause like we're such good friends, you know. And then she looked really sad, and I was like, yeah, but I'm not saying like you're unattractive or anything. I mean, like I don't know what. I'm just like you're my friend, you know. And then I thought we would just pretend that never happened, because this isn't the first time. I've had many friends that were queer or whatever, and this was actually the third time this happened, where like a queer person is drunk and they're like, hey, you know, I think I like you, and I'm like, no, you don't, you're gay, no, right? This is the third time it happened, but usually I pretend it never happened, and we pretend it never happened, and everything's fine because we just pretend it never happened. But this one person, this one friend, then she did it again, and then she did it again, and then I'm like, oh goddamn, I'm still a man though, you know. And I was like, after the third time, I was like, all right, let's try it, and it went terribly. It was a terrible idea. Never doing that again. Never sleep with your friends.
Chasing the chasing the.
Yeah.
Hey Phil, how are you?
Bad times, man. I think what happens is like, so I am technically like a, you know, sensitive artist, blah blah blah, feminist, blah blah blah, right? I am, right? But and then sometimes a person meets me and thinks like they're attracted to me because they never met a guy like me that's like quote unquote straight or whatever. That's an ally that's like not bullshitting. So then they think they like me because they never met anyone like me. But I'm just like, no, you just gotta go meet other people like that. I'm not the one. You're just so thirsty for someone like this that you think you like me, but you don't like me. You're just men suck. Most men suck. That's the problem. Otherwise, you know, you wouldn't even be attracted to me. I think it's just more like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That happens.
Well, first step is admitting that you are you suck. And I
Yeah.
used to suck. I mean,
No, it helps a lot, especially when you get into like heated discussions and issues with people, and to just stop for a second and be like, man, what if I'm just totally wrong? Like, even if I know I'm right, what if I am wrong? You know? Does this have to keep?
possibility, right?
Yeah.
There's a possibility. You gotta give that. You gotta have some little bit of doubt.
I mean, I think doubt is a sign of a true prophet too. I think you can tell, like, well, I talk about prophets and stuff because I'm sort of I'm somewhat a spiritual counselor to some people, and I coach artists and influencers. I do that on the side, and I always tell them like the difference between a real prophet and a fake prophet, like a charlatan, is that a real prophets have doubt, and the ones that had no doubt, they're not real. They're the fakers, like, you know.
Hey, Mr. Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Buddha had doubt. Jesus had doubt. Muhammad had doubt. Joseph Smith had no doubt. The Mormon guy. You know, the cult leaders, like none of them had doubt. The assholes, the ones that fuck their followers, they don't have doubt. They're very confident that they know what they are. It's the ones with doubt that they're the ones that are true. And it's important to have doubt because you need to be able to critically think about your decisions and behaviors. It's helpful because you can't always be right. You're not perfect. Everyone can't always be right, but everyone thinks they're always right all the time. That is impossible. It's not even possible. It's like, but the ego like needs to be right. It's so hard for the ego to accept being wrong.
It's so easier to me. Is knowing that
So Mastodon comics.
knowing that that you are wrong. You know, if knowing that, hey, I could just goof up anytime right now, it's a lot easier accepting that
Hmm.
than thinking that I'm just constantly thinking that I'm perfect and trying to defend that I'm perfect. That's really hard. How do you do that? How do you keep on trying to, how do you
Well,
add lie to lie to lie to lie?
well,
So
to
it's
be
easier to just confess and say, hey, I fucked up.
Well, actually, what I've been encountering more these days recently is people that are very judgy, that judge everyone and like criticize everyone and complain about everyone. I've been meeting a lot of people that just like constantly complain about other people. And what they don't realize, and I don't tell them yet, I'm like, until it's like really annoying, but the more you judge other people, the more pressure you're putting on yourself to be perfect. Because the more you judge, the more you're putting on the line the idea that you are perfect, actually. And that
Mm,
puts so much pressure on yourself, actually. So judging others is a way of just putting yourself in a pressure cooker. And
right.
that's why you shouldn't do it. Not because it's necessarily wrong, but because you're actually like fucking yourself up and putting yourself into these like completely unrealistic expectations. And yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Dave
So
Koresh, Jim Jones.
just live
Sorry,
it.
really.
Live easy. Live easy. Just say you fuck up, and occasionally you'll do some good stuff. I mean, you know.
Yeah, or apologize.
Yeah.
Apologize for mistakes, or admit you're wrong. I feel like this is I'm generalizing, but I feel like guys have harder time with this, admitting they're wrong or apologizing for mistakes. But it is so freeing. It feels like weakness at first, and the ego thinks it's weakness, but it's actually really freeing and remarkable. Like I remember I was having this discussion with a woman, and she was saying how I was saying how men are like much hornier than women. That's sort of my premise. And she's like, no, women are just as horny as dudes, right? She said, no, you're wrong. I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I was like, maybe I'm wrong. And then she was like, uh, oh, like she was so thrown off that I just admitted she's right. Like she's probably right. I actually don't know.
No, just
I can't say you're wrong. And it just threw her off because she was ready to, I could tell she was ready to keep going. And I was like, no, you win. Like,
no. It's just because you're admitting you're wrong doesn't mean the other person is right either.
yeah, but it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be, we need to be kinder to ourselves to make more mistakes.
I mean,
And
in that argument, I just don't see how one of you know each other's position. How does one know that how she know that women are just as horny, or how do you know that men are more horny? You never been
well,
a woman, and you never.
well, there's things to consider. Like from what I understand, the woman's orgasm is much more earth shattering than a guy's orgasm, right? And
Ah,
therefore, even if that's true, right, then there's like some chance that likely, you'll be more motivated to get those earth-shattering orgasms. However, too many men don't give a shit about that. They're only looking for their own orgasm, and that's why there's all these issues, basically. Because really the goal should be her orgasm, because she can have multiple, and most guys can't, right? So, if you go first, you're fucked. It's over, right? You got to focus on them. That should be the goal. Um, yeah. And all people are different. Like dudes that think they have techniques or they know the way, and I'm like, oh, that means you don't know shit, because women are so different. Like some of them they like really heavy petting, and some of them you barely touch them and freaks them out. So you have to learn the secret is they're all completely different. You gotta start from scratch. That's the secret, and that's how you yeah.
yeah. And you guys thought we were going to talk about comic books today.
All men think about sex, I guess, sort of, but it is such a cultural, social thing to bring up. And who knows, maybe women do think about sex, they just repress it because it's not like socially acceptable for women to be like that, as socially acceptable as men are or whatever. Like, I'll meet guys that I don't know, and to bond with me, men, to bond, they'll tell me horrible, demeaning things about women. Like, and the more horrible and demeaning they speak about women, it means they like me a lot. And they really want to be my friend. And I'm like, this is wild. Like, this happens all the time where I meet new guys. And because they like me so much, they talk just horrible shit about women. And then I don't know how to feel because I mean, like, I was like, okay, I guess you like me, but you don't know who I am. You don't know that this is awful, awful stuff you're saying. But that's a form of bonding. So there's a lot of pressure for men to act like that's all they think about. And sometimes, you know, and that's to the detriment too. I mean, if you're thinking with your balls, you're gonna end up in a bad relationship. I mean, ooh,
Yeah.
don't think with your balls, man.
Yeah.
It is really short-lived. You know, Bill Burr, he always says, just rub one out. If someone's like constantly on your mind, just rub one out and just fucking get your shit together, you know, and relax. And because your ball brain, like I'll meet a beautiful woman and she'll tell me these amazing stories and she's so charismatic and she's so witty and she's so funny, right? And then I have to actually stop and go like, wait. Is she funny at all? You know, because I don't know anymore because my balls are taking over my brain because she's so pretty that I'm not even sure if she's even funny. Like I have to question like, wait, is she funny? Is she witty? Is this my balls or I can't, you know, so you know, I'm somewhat aware of that more and it's funny. It's always funny. You know, I try to treat people evenly. I try to treat like.
So you agree with this one?
Yeah, if I smoke, we'll get more. Yeah, I would love to write. I mean, I have this joke series I want to do for DC, like a Black Label Wonder Woman project, where it's about the first year on Man's World where no one knew about Wonder Woman, and she ends up murdering 26 men. Because she's not used to being disrespected because she's from Themyscira. So when she comes here, she just fucking murders dudes. And then she realizes, oh, okay, they're not cool with murdering. All right, I'm going to pretend I don't murder people. And then she becomes Wonder Woman. And then she decides to become Wonder Woman. But it's just like this dark secret year where she just murdered every dude that like talked down to her.
It was challenging for her, right?
Yeah, really challenging, especially if you're like an intelligent warrior and you know you can kill everyone here, and they keep talking down. Eventually, it's gonna fucking drive you nuts.
Well, maybe she doesn't know they're tough, and she just assumed, hey, if they're talking that tough, maybe I could just. This is a huge challenge, and I just. She thought she was taking on a huge challenge because they talk tough, and. She overpowers them, not knowing that she is overpowering them.
I think if I made any comic, it would be. So I have this Silver Age book, Daredevil issue 5.
Ooh, nice.
It's super worth. I mean, you know, it's not a valuable because the Matador. It's the first appearance of the Matador. It's a joke villain, you know, Matador, right? And this is the last issue with him in the yellow suit, I think. But I'll write the Matador. I'm gonna write a Matador story where he's coaching like a new villain or something. He's supposed to mentor someone to be a villain, and he's like, yeah, I went against Daredevil when I was younger.
Oh,
Yeah, he had nothing on me, you know. And then it'll be like a new Matador story. That's what I would do, some sort of Matador thing, but turn Matador into something more nefarious and intense, you know.
Ooh.
Way in the future, she was badass. Primal. You mean Gary? Not Primal, the TV show, right? By Gary Tartovsky or whatever. I mean, yeah, the Black Label stuff is cool.
Primal, yeah.
But I definitely want to do more creator-owned stuff. If I get the opportunity to do DC Marvel stuff, I'll definitely do it. But you know, they don't want me right now. But I want to do comics. I want to do TV, film. I'm gonna have a huge empire, you know. I'm trying to be bigger than Disney. And my name is Dank, and no one's gonna know. And I'm dead ass. I'm not even
No,
kidding.
you have the toys and the park. Otherwise, you're not. You can never be bigger than Disney.
No, you can, because like when Disney died, his like park he was making the second Disney World. He didn't survive to see it, right? And he had a lot of failures. He was sort of up and down. It was growing, but he had a lot of failures too. Now, what Disney is today is not what Disney was when Disney died, right? I believe because we're the internet age, right? I believe we're also in the age of the super creator, where you'll have different creators. Like I think there's like 100,000 creators that can come up with 100 different really good ideas at once, unlike ever before in history. And like Marvel and Disney, they're all relying on properties that are like 60 years old. Like all these ideas that are old, 60 years old. But we're the internet generation. We should be able to create all the new properties, and there's so much untapped creativity that we haven't accessed. It should be a mathematical certainty that someone can be bigger than Disney. Why not me? It's like we have to believe we can do that in order to ever even get close. You have to believe, right? And I think especially Asians that are not super confident in themselves, and we're usually not self-aggrandizing, self-promoting types. Maybe I gotta be the one. Like maybe I'm serious. Like maybe I gotta be the one, and then younger kids will be like, oh, I can do that too. Like I really, and I could be
that
delusional.
little ride you get. What's that? What is a small world? That
Yeah,
little ride in Disney.
yeah.
I could totally see you modifying that ride to have like a smoke field with the pot smokes in there, and people go in there just get high.
I mean, likely the next like amusement park ish thing will be some sort of story driven Roblox multiplayer, like a virtual world, kind of like Ready Player One, but with a lot of IP that's original with some company, and it could be this. That's gonna be the next like Disney World, the Dank World.
The dank one. It's
I
called
don't know.
dank
I don't
one.
know. No, but look, I have an agenda. I have a goal. It's not about my own fame or fortune. Like, really, every project I write is about an individual reshaping reality through a series of simple choices. It's about how anyone can actually change the whole world through a series of simple choices. And that's the super theme of everything I write. And I cast a lot of people of color, a lot of women. And the point is, like, if my projects get really big and I get successful, kids around the world that don't have like parents around all the time, they'll watch the show because it's so entertaining. Because entertaining, number one, right? So entertaining, you have to watch it. But then suddenly it like clicks in the head of the child, like, wait, I can do anything, like, and that's it. So if I'm successful, I will be rich, but I'm not trying to be rich. I don't give a fuck about being rich. And if you knew me, you would know that's true, because I have fucking nothing, and I just don't care about money. But I don't have kids either, so I have the luxury to kind of be more frivolous about that. However, yeah, that's the goal. And even my partner and I, we also decided to cap our income. So if we ever get anything above like $1 million, so like if I'm right, if I produce 30 different projects at once, like TV and film projects, they might give me like a $200 million Netflix deal or something, right? Everything above $1 million is going into a super fund, and we're going to give out shares of the super fund to all our collaborators, like our makeup people, our gaffers, our DP, our crafts people that I believe are our collaborators, not our employees, right? I don't believe in that. When I make a film, I think everyone made it what it is. Everyone contributed to it. So I will give out shares to the people I collaborate with, and they can cash out the shares of the super fund, or they can hold it, whatever they want. But now they have the luxury and freedom to choose their jobs as they wish. And they can quit if they want. It just gives them a little more financial freedom because, even though I made the idea and I have all the property rights, I don't think that's right. I think it should be shared more. And I want to create a new model in Hollywood where I make a super fund, share with the other co-creators, and make more money doing it and show Hollywood they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and like they got to really reconsider how we're paying people, because I think like not enough people are sharing in the prosperity of Hollywood. But now
in Dank World, you are in a true hashtag growth together.
yeah, I mean we're losing money now because the Netflix is crashing, and it looks like the glut of income in media is coming to an end. The new head of HBO Max or HBO Warner Brothers is like he's all about slimming down budgets.
Yeah, it's not
So
about slimming down his bonuses though.
no, I think the HBO Max, the new head of Warner, he's like really about that. I don't know. We'll see. Because I don't know, because they got bought out. Warner got bought out by Discovery recently. Um, 3 a.m. in the Netherlands. I'm reading this comment. Yeah, thank you for coming. Wow, Netherlands.
Okay, have a good night. Have a good sleep, my friend.
They drink very good coffee over there.
And then you been there?
No, I haven't, but I was trained by the coach of the national barista team of Sweden, because I'm a competition level barista. It's ridiculous, but I know the Scandinavian countries, they drink really good drip coffee.
Wow, true tea master.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I really love that tea master story you told. To encourage YouTubers to make YouTube channels. You want to tell it?
Yeah, sure. So I encourage everyone to make a YouTube channel. Just make a YouTube channel about anything you love and talk about frequently. Just do it, because the thing about YouTube and new media, what's different is that it's not necessarily conflict-based media, because most old media is about conflict, because conflict is titillating, so a lot of people like that. However, in this new media space, a lot of times it's us talking about loving things endlessly. Like every episode, hey, I love this, welcome. I love this, hey, welcome back, I love this, right? And it's this endless love loop without conflict, and for some reason it's getting more eyeball time and attracting more attention than old conflict-based media. No one's talking about this right now, but it's true. There's something to be. It kind of breaks the mold of what we thought is true about media.
I love comics. I show comics. I love vinyl records. I show vinyl records. I
And
don't
you just keep
show
watching it.
something about. It's not about me not liking something. It's more about me liking stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's hate stuff too, but
Yeah.
that's not why we kind of burn out from that stuff. You know, you kind of want to watch the stuff where people are just loving stuff, and so. Also, when you just kind of love stuff and make a YouTube channel, you get to show yourself more, and whatever you're passionate at, it will present you as sort of like very good at that thing, but probably you have a day job where you're very good at other things too, and you can leverage the YouTube channel for the other things you do. So I write TV and film projects. I have a comic book series I'm working on. I make this YouTube channel where I talk about comics and life and whatever. But then when I do a Kickstarter for my comic book series, I'm going to have already a bunch of people knowing about it without having to promote and do all this, campaigning and asking all my friends and family, because I already built this audience here, right? And the story of the tea master and the swordsman, right? There's this famous story from Japan, right? It's about a tea master and the samurai. They're best friends, right? But the tea master's sort of jealous of the samurai because he gets all like the attention and respect, and everyone respects the tea master, but it's not the same, So one day the samurai, he goes out of town, and the tea master goes to his place and he puts on all the samurai gear just to like feel what it's like. Yeah, the friend, the tea master. He puts on all the samurai gear. He walks around town feeling really tough and cool in the samurai gear. And then a guy from another town comes by. He's like, "Hey, you're the samurai, right?" He's like, yeah." He's like, "Okay, I heard about you. I'm gonna fight you in a duel, right?" And the tea master's like, "Oh, fuck, okay," right? And it's like, shit. And he's like wondering when his friend's coming back. He's like, "Oh, fuck. What do I do? Oh, okay, before we duel, let's have some tea before we fight. Okay, is that cool?" The other guy's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, let's have some tea." And the tea master's like, "Okay." Goes to his house and he prepares the tea, with the water, makes it perfectly. He mixes in the tea parts, everything's so perfect. And he grabs his cup and he hands it to the guy, and the guy, he's like, he's taking it, but he starts to shake, he looks really scared. The guy from another town, and Tea Master's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Please, I don't want to duel anymore. I'm so sorry. Please, I'm backing out. Please, don't take this the wrong way." And Tea Master's like, "What's going on? What do you mean? Why?" And the guy goes, "Well, if you can make tea like this, I don't know what kind of swordsman you are, but I think I'm just way out of my depth, And then he leaves town, and the tea master saves his ass by showing off his tea skills. So basically, the tea skills makes a person think your other skill set is incredible, and that's what YouTube can do. So be passionate about something, talk about something, present, whatever. But you can leverage that for anything else you do in your life as a skill or whatever. I found, and it just makes you seem legitimate. I'm like, oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel. People are like, oh, you have a YouTube channel? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm like, well, I guess, because it's not also that hard. You just got to get into the rhythm. You got to get into the groove, and you're gonna suck at first too. By the way, you're gonna suck at first, and that's okay because no one started perfect. Any YouTube channel, if they didn't delete any of their videos, you'll see their first videos suck, and that's how you become a man. You must suck. You must suck. There needs to be a sacred space to suck and understand that is part of the quest to mastery. Honor sucking. Embrace sucking. Don't hold yourself back because you feel like you need to be good right away. You must honor the sacred space to suck.
No, that's why that movie is a worst movie to me. Is that movie Amadeus? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but his
And not
life
worst movie.
sucked.
The character is the worst for me. The
Yeah.
character who
Oh,
admired
Salieri?
Amadeus, who's jealous of his
Yeah, Salieri.
talent. And the thing is, you have love for the music. You have love for the music. That should be enough. But no, you got to be the best. I mean, that elitist mind where you
This,
have to be the best. You,
this is a
if
thing
you're not
though.
good, then you shouldn't do anything at all. I mean, that is what I love about YouTube is that you can suck and
Yeah.
still create YouTube channel
Yeah.
and still have people come to you and watch your suckiness. And I mean, we're not this elitist society anymore. Any YouTube to me is a democracy of talent. We don't have to be elite. We can suck. Allow us to
Well,
suck. Allow us to do stuff that we love.
I think
Even if
there are
it's not.
actually. So I believe anyone that makes a YouTube channel is an artist. You are an artist. If you make content, you are an artist. Believe it or not, okay? There's two kinds of artists, generally speaking, and it's a spectrum. There's artists that make work to love the world, or they make art to be loved. Okay? And most young artists, they're actually doing it to be loved, and they don't even know it yet. Okay? And most people are doing it to be loved. It's when you transition and move into the spectrum where it's about loving the world. That's when you have a healthier artistic career and you don't get bogged down by jealousy and competition. But you have to first step out of needing to be loved. That's not what it's about. It's about loving the world. And it's a thing like young artists don't get it right away unless you tell them point blank. But I noticed that about the young people. They secretly want love because they have a hole in their heart. So
We all
many
have
people-
voices in our heart.
Yeah, a lot of people have holes in their hearts, but filling the hole, like loving yourself is like first and foremost, and then getting that thing and that thing and that thing is secondary but if you don't focus on loving yourself first, you're gonna be getting these things to fill that hole, but it will never work. I know millionaires, I know billionaires personally that have all this fucking bullshit, and I know I love myself more than they do. I know it deep down fundamentally, and I am broke. I'm actually broke, like really broke. But I know I'm happier than them, and I don't say that with like glee or anything. It's really kind of shocking because, even though it's like a fun message or whatever, most people fantasize about being rich anyway. Like a lot of people, they want like lower taxes because they're like, well, if I'm rich, I don't want tax. It's like, I don't know. Like even people that hate on the rich, like as soon as they get rich, they're just the same exact asshole. I've noticed. Like that's the thing about the difference between rich people and poor people. I'm like, they're not that different. I think a lot of times if they switch places, they're the exact same. They become exactly the thing they hate or whatever.
Yeah, they just have more spending power to be nasty.
They do, but they're so fucking weak and fragile sometimes because they allow the world to pamper them, so they can't handle a lot of shit. Sometimes some rich people, and they surround themselves with this bubble of like people that just like feeding them like telling them they're great and awesome. You hire servants and all these people, and they all like tell you you're awesome, and it's like so addictive. It's hard to push yourself away from that. When human beings tell you you're awesome, there's nothing, even if you know it's not totally real, there's nothing like it, and you just can't get over it, and that's what it keeps going. That's why people keep making more and more money, because they know, oh, more money, more respect, even though it's based on fucking shallow bullshit. It still feels so good. I think it's an addiction. I think it's something to do with like a lack of love too, a lack of self-love. Um, yeah, I like this. Nornrad says he used to make 60K truck driving. Now he makes 30K a year working from home. He's happier working from home. My dad, he's a letter carrier. He can get a better route where he gets like almost 5 to 10 grand in Christmas bonuses in this rich area, right? But he'd rather work in the area that doesn't give him that, because he's close to home and he can piss on his own, he can take a shit in his own toilet. He'd rather take a shit
High
on his
priority.
own toilet anytime he wants, than go into another neighborhood and get 10 grand and look for a shitter, you know? He knows, you know.
Yeah, I rather feel my own ass residue than someone else's.
I have a job. It's not the best job, right? It's okay, but it's a 7-minute walk from my house. So I'm like, there's better jobs, but that 7-minute walk from the house, like, man, that's worth a lot to me. So
That's a lot of gas money you're saving.
gas money, but also just a 7-minute walk, you know, you just like, it's just so much more relaxing, you know, you don't have to commute, and man. And my grandfather was like, he thought that was cool. He was like, this boy knows how to pick a job. That's what he said. I was like, oh, cool. He doesn't care. I mean, my grandparents, like, I pay for their internet. I pay for shit, and they're like, what are you doing? Why are you paying? You don't have money? You don't pay for this? You don't have money? You know, you're broke. We know you're broke. And I'm like, I tell them, like, yo, 1 day of tips pays for this internet, right? And that's not true, but I just say that. And I tell them, and also, if I was rich, you'd be expecting me to pay for this shit, and you'd be mad at me if I didn't. It's because I'm poor that this matters. Like, and it's because I'm poor that this has grave meaning to me. This is like, this means everything to me. Spending this money for you guys before you go is so much more important than whatever the fuck I'm gonna spend it on. Whatever bullshit I'm gonna spend it on, you know? And I'll have no regrets, and I know that. And they're just like, all right. But I'm a very convincing person, basically.
Yeah, you know, just tell them the Bible story about the old lady who pays small tithing out of her purse, and you know that tithing story, right?
The tithing story?
Well, no, she's paying her dues.
Uh-huh.
She that's her last penny, and then she's giving it away, and that's worth a lot more to her.
Oh.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
it,
Yo, I look, I had the Marvel premiere, you know, first appearance of Shang-Chi, right?
oh, you do?
Yeah, no, I had it in like really pretty good condition.
Uh-huh.
And then there was like another guy on YouTube who was like, I love that movie, blah blah blah. I fucking AOK'd him the comic. I just gave it to him. Gave it to him. It's worth so much money. I just gave it to him because even though I got it, and I got it for like $100, but it's worth like whatever, thousands or whatever.
Yeah.
He's so hyped that I know his joy of receiving it is beyond the joy of me owning it. I actually do this joy economics in my head. So I give out wild AOKs. Like most of my most valuable comics I actually gave away for free. Because in my mind, in the economics of joy, I know how much joy is getting like created from the receiving compared to me just holding it. I don't get much from a passive object. But if I know it's given and someone receives this immense joy, oh, that's a bargain. That's basement bargain. It's ridiculous, you know. And to me, that's $100 I put down to create $100,000 worth of joy.
Right.
And, yeah, and so it's a
you're one in
no-brainer.
economics of joy.
Joy, yeah, economics of joy.
Yeah.
I think that's the way we need to approach things more, instead of like scarcity mindset. Oh, I need this, I need that. And the truth is, you like giving more than receiving. You've been brainwashed to not believe that. And there's a lot of research studies pointing to this idea that actually you do actually like giving more than receiving. But capitalism has brainwashed us not to believe that shit anymore. But trust me, giving out AOK, you'll see. And receiving AOKs, it's part of that. I like, that's why I like AOKs. It was something I was doing before the AOK movement. I was already doing that, but when I found out about the AOK movement, I was like, oh shit, it's like, it's growing. This is great. This is a thing now.
Yeah, matter of fact, I sometimes collect comic books just to get some stuff that are for AOKs. You know, it's not about my. It's not about like I buy mystery boxes and I know I'm not going to like them, but maybe I'll find something that people will like.
Yo, what up, Trey?
Hey.
TM. I've also given out comics that are like, I've had many people like cry from the AOK, you know, because it's because I like to receive something so wild from a stranger for no real reason. It goes against everything we're told in our culture, that you have to like be cutthroat and fight each other and like just grab at anything. It's all for you. You gotta think about yourself before anyone else. Blah blah blah. So when you do that, you sort of break that whole ideology, and that's really it. And it's sort of part of it is like, it's me being an activist. When I do a wild AOKs or whatever, I feel like I'm saying fuck you to capitalism, honestly. I'm not anti-capitalist, okay? I just mean the culture where capitalism is a moral value.
Yeah,
I think that's a mistake. Capitalism is a tool, not a moral value. And that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all system, just like in my room, right? If I don't take care of my room, it'll get messy. Entropy, right? Idea that capitalism never gonna fail or it's never gonna go to chaos is wrong. That's like having a faith. I mean, why we have such a huge faith in capitalism when we know everything else deteriorates? The capitalism will deteriorate when there's a corruption, and corruption will feed corruptions. So we have to understand that everything that we have, there's nothing that we could have such faith in where that it's not gonna someday corrupt. And I think it has corrupted quite a bit.
I'm all for basic universal income. Universal basic income, yeah. I think that's obvious. Trickle up economics always works. Trickle down doesn't. Clearly, it's pretty. I don't know. It's a little absurd because it all goes back into the economy. Like no one's. There, some people gonna save it, but that's also fine, you know. And if you want to get rich, you gotta be an entrepreneur. You gotta like push further if you want to get rich. But the UBI will let you just eat.
Basically, we
and
just
shit.
start raising the floor. Let's raise the floor rather than, you know, give everybody. I mean, some little idea that we got so absorbed on the idea that if we give somebody something for free, they're gonna get lazy and they're not gonna be productive. Well, people are not productive anyways. Most people are not that productive if they're not doing something that they want to do. I mean, if we're doing something that we don't want to do, we're not going to be productive in that, right? So,
I mean, the young people I meet now, they either work way too hard, like they're killing themselves working, or they don't give a shit and they don't work at all. Like I'm not meaning the in the middle. It's like these extremes, and
yeah.
I'm like really so. I'm like, man, I'm not meeting like the healthy middle.
But if you raise the bottom, those people who have good work ethics, you're helping them. They're the one who's going to make the difference. And I don't know.
I believe that. I was working with my comic book artist. His work was so good, and I was working with two artists at once, and the other artist was charging me more. His work wasn't as good. This artist was so good, charging me way less, that I told him he's getting a raise. I was like, I'm gonna give you $20 more for every page, and he was just like, "What? You don't have to." I'm like, "Yeah, I do, because you deserve it. And I believe in like that, and I fight for people's raises. I started a strike when I was 20 at a restaurant. Um, yeah, I fight for people's. I like workers' rights. I also like working hard, which gives me some power with owners. I can demand more because I work hard. Gives me more freedom to make demands about other people and stuff.
Yeah. Uh, you know, it's about going over an hour here, but just tell us about how you make comic books. How you make comic books. This is as you started with your own comic book, and you make it sound like making your own comic book is really easy. Tell us how easy is it?
Um, I guess I would recommend trying to write a one shot first if you're gonna start. A one shot, like a 24-page one shot, 20-page one shot. Have a story with a beginning, middle, and an end, and it could be about anything. I know the market is like looking for action-packed stories, thrillers, horror right now, but you can still do like a character piece about your time, or whatever. But more importantly, though, try to have your voice in your story. So remember, if you think you have an idea that's original, 20 other people are working on the same idea. Ideas are cheap. They're really looking for your voice, how you tell that story. So there's always going to be like, everything I write is going to be a copy of something. They're going to think it's a copy of something, but it's the way I tell it that's going to define, me as a storyteller. And just try it. Just try it, because then you're going to learn what it is. And it's not going to be that easy. No, it's not going to be that easy, but you'll appreciate comics more. You'll have fun. You'll suck. You'll make a lot of mistakes. But I think it's one of the easiest ways to tell like a story that's published with people reading it is a comic book. More so than even like, maybe not fan fiction. Maybe fan fiction's easier way, but comics are close. But movies are really hard. Movies are way harder to make, in my opinion. Just comics are not as like visible as movies. So it depends. It depends on what you want to write, comics or movies, but they're both similar and very different.
Which one is easier, comic or movie? I mean, like that short film you did versus that
Yeah.
comic book you got right there.
I think movies take a lot more social skills. Okay, so if you don't have social skills, comics might be a little better for you, because you're going to work with a lot of people in film.
Yeah.
Film gets a lot of people interested in working with you. Comics doesn't, so you have to be more self-motivated in comics, but films have a lot more moving pieces. So there's like all these give and takes depending on which medium you're working on.
Mm. This is I think response to this question here.
Hmm. Oh yeah, because the tip thing, but that's bullshit. All what has to happen actually. I've heard this from like law experts. If anyone sues the government, any state government, about tips being unfair, because you can easily prove that, like, if you're a hot woman, you get more tip money than if you're like an ugly dude. Or you can prove that tip amounts will vary based on gender and race, and make a lawsuit saying that it's a discriminatory practice of payments. But you just need a rich person to pay the lawyer to do the case. But once that case goes through, that's the end of tips, actually. But what needs to happen is someone with enough money has to start the lawsuit. But it's an easily winnable case. It's just no one has the money or the chutzpah to try that case. But it's easily, you can do that and change the whole thing. And the cities tried to do that. Danny Myers and his restaurants, they tried to make like a minimum wage, no tips. They eventually didn't work out. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Because and that's why the service is so like ridiculous sometimes. Like where they're like overly friendly because they want your money. And I kind of hate that. I kind of hate how like rich people get treated better, even though they're not necessarily buying more. It's like if you project that you're a rich person, you get better treatment, even when you spend the same amount of money as a person that doesn't project that they're rich. By the way, that's a thing, and that's fucking stupid. But people, they get tricked by the way people look. Everyone is so biased that they, and like, I don't know. There's like, that phrase. I don't know. I can talk about a lot of stuff.
I told you we're not gonna run out of talking topics.
Yeah, but we are going long, right?
Yeah, we are going long.
Yeah.
So, let's close up. What we didn't discuss. We showed enough comic books, I think. I mean, we're on off the topic on a lot of stuff, but we stuck with the creating comic books. You have anything closing thoughts?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention though, comics they tend to be imitating film more and more over the years. Because comics used to be much more compressed as storytelling medium. Like one page can tell you so much about like 4 days, but now comics are more and more like movies, like storyboards. And that is to the detriment of comics, because I think the compressed storytelling of comics really allowed a lot more of your imagination to run. I think we lost that because comics are so tied with Hollywood. So that sucks. But if you want to know what I'm talking about in terms of compressed storytelling, just get any Alan Moore comic. Not Watchmen. Just get like Alan Moore. He did Tom Strong. He did, what's it called? Tomorrow Stories. Promethea. He did some comics where it's very compressed, but it's still excellent. And in Tomorrow Stories, it's fucking every issue is like 4 stories in one comic, and he shows you how to tell compelling, like really rich stories in like 5 pages or less. And that's sort of the thing I miss about comics that I want to play with more, because I've been making comics way too much like film, to be honest. And I miss that the compressed storytelling of comics is something to be cherished, I think, a little more, because we're forgetting.
Yeah. Well, appreciate coming by. Appreciate all the chat room people participating in this conversation. We appreciate you. I think my next guest is going to be an artist. I think John Boy. I think he's half Japanese, half American. I forgot.
Oh, John Boy.
Yeah, John Boy. John Boy. Let me see. Hold on.
He does covers.
Yeah, he does covers. Yeah, he does covers.
Man, how are you booking these? You just asking them? You just contact them?
Yeah.
Man, you're booking like amazing people on your show.
Well,
it's incredible.
Yeah, I booked you, didn't I?
Yeah, but I'm just a fellow YouTuber, But these dudes, like, I didn't even know what they look like, but I knew their name. That's how famous they are. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna have him next. I think coming Wednesday. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Pay attention to my IG information, and I'm gonna announce it on videos. Did you shop for new 3-day comic book thing?
No, I couldn't go because of my shitty job, and I'm broke, so I had to work.
There's no walking distance to your LCS.
No. But I'll go. They usually have a lot of leftovers. I just grab the leftovers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, appreciate you guys. If you want to stay for a little bit, you could. Okay. All right. Good night.
Take care, y'all.